Remember that they're changing my voice. First, I'd like to point out that people shouldn't reproduce no matter what. With that being said, I'm sure that there's a certain understanding in my videos that I do think that a lot of kids are very adorable. Asian kids, Filipino kids, a lot of English people, and all kinds of children, right? And a lot of English people are very polite, and very, I know these things. I tell the truth, and whatever credit people deserve is what I believe I should give them, and whatever chastisement they deserve is what I believe I should do, right? Chastising them to that specific degree. Okay. With that being said, as you see, I give people credit where it's due, right? If there's an attractive female, I say, hey, she's attractive. She's too stupid to want to date me. I say, hey, she's dumb but attractive, right? Fair enough. If somebody's a thief, they're a thief, a serial killer, what have you. And when it comes to God, I am the expert. When it comes to martial arts, I am the master. In fact, I think I pointed this out before when I was making videos aimed at you. I said that in ancient Greek, the word heros means master. So the hero is the master. Not the person withdraws, not the actor. So immediately, as I'm emerging to be morally precise and Jet Li and Jackie Chan, though they seem like nice guys or something, they're not masters of martial arts because they didn't emerge to be a hero with a universal scale. And we can kind of see it in where their martial arts are lacking. It's not so much height or a lack of strength or a lack of speed that was their main problem. And it is their main problem is, when you look at their videos, so on and so forth, it's conformity, right? And because they don't have that heart, that willpower, that character to emerge as a hero, I could outmaneuver them easily. Me in my prime versus them in theirs, they don't have a chance. So even though this picture on the screen has been greatly reduced, right? Kind of more or less how Jet Li fights from the countless movies, which captures a certain amount of his style in the movements. You know how Jackie Chan fights, how Bruce Lee fights. They try to confuse you about how I fight, how I spar, how I work, fight with weapons and do surgical strikes. Because I'm the master, and my style is divine. So they allow conformist styles to be represented, right? And these guys are often in token minority social clubs. But they censor divine martial arts from God, hero emerging, right? Responsibility, emergency, emerge and see, urgency, your gene see, right? Bred to be a martial artist of God versus bred to be a mere entertainer or a monk or just a practitioner. In the Hagakure, it says that, that to him, the difference between a martial artist, and it's semantics, mind you. I've read another book, Fighting for Honor, where they explain these things differently. And it's just semantics in general. I'm sure you know that. To him, the difference between a martial artist and a warrior is a martial artist simply practices various techniques and masters them in a sense. But a warrior is a warrior because his heart demands it. And so the Hagakure is aimed at warriors. It's a book by a Japanese samurai who's trying to teach his code and impress it upon whoever. And as the story goes, that he didn't want it to be published. Who knows? But certainly he's onto something there, to say the least. So when you look at the screen, you say, okay, who would win and why? Well, when you look at a leopard and a golden retriever, who would win? You look at a shark and a fish. You look at a falcon and a smaller bird, a falcon about to dive. I shouldn't have to explain it to you. We look at a leopard and an impala, which is larger than a leopard, but has a certain, it has a certain lack of kind of intense fierceness that gives the leopard the upper hand. When you look at who you might think is the next best martial artist in history versus me, you see somebody who doesn't have a chance versus me. And I'm the top martial artist ever possible. As soon as he tried to swing with his sword, I'd block it, I'd cut the distance because I'm faster on my feet. I'm a faster runner. I played basketball for many years. I'm cutting that distance in no time. Think better than Iverson footwork, cutting that distance. Skywalker, footwork, and the work of God. I'm cutting that distance, right? It's clear cut. And after I block that first strike, you think he's going to have time to raise the sword again? No. I'm quickly cutting the distance. I'm faster than him. I'm smarter than him. I'm more agile, better reflexes, and I'm slicing him up. He's done. Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, Wesley Snipes, Steven Seagal, Dolph Lundgren, anyone you've ever heard of, Chuck Norris, don't have a chance. John Jones, I want to say his name is Khabib or something, that Arab guy, Conor McGregor, anyone you could think of doesn't have a chance. Skywalking, sky, law king, the law of God, that he with the greater heart, he who God has set apart, has the upper hand. Thus heaven's mandate. They're not supposed to shun me. Marshal is marital scramble. Christ is the bridegroom. And I'm Christ, the Christos, set apart like David versus Goliath, but it's true and intense and potent form. You see, I, boasting in God Almighty, am the master because God chose me. And the more idolaters, see Isaiah 44, the more idolaters whine and complain, the more they sink lower, and the gap is already infinitely great. You can't beat the Spirit of God, no matter what. It's certainly not by being a conformist conform versus divine form. Formula, formation. Form alpha shun because you're a conformist who betrays God in the alpha doesn't have a chance. You see, I am the master. And other people are slaves to their cowardice, slaves to sin, slaves to foolishness, slaves to madness, slaves to a lack of sense, a lack of insight, a lack of discipline, a lack of focus, a lack of wisdom, a lack of timing, a lack of justice, a lack of righteousness. Why, I am the master. Can you imagine anyone else making their case? Some English royal, some Israeli, some rich Jew in America, some rich token minority, black or otherwise? Can you imagine them saying, well, that doesn't matter. Yodelee. There's nothing they can say because I am the top. And their own cowardice, their own stupidity has prevented them from being great. When it came to crossing that line into being good or great, they couldn't do it. Their foolishness made them stop.